Aloha and good morning. My name is Juergen Steinmetz, joining you from eTravel News and World Tourism Network in Honolulu, Hawaii. Today, this event is actually not our event at World Tourism Network. It's an event from SKAL. And those, I think everyone who is in the travel and tourism industry knows SKAL. I call it the Rotary of the travel and tourism industry. It's the oldest organization in the world. And also, I think it's the largest organization in the world of tourism leaders in many countries. And today, we actually have the global president, Burcin Turkkan. She's joining us from Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. But we also have Frank Tancu joining us. He's the president of SKAL in Romania. And we're going to talk today about the ongoing situation and how the travel and tourism industry can perhaps assist and how they assist in Ukraine. And for this, I'm very humbled to have a true hero, not only in tourism, but also in the current situation. Ivan joining us, Ivan Liptuga joining us from Ukraine. He's the head of the National Tourism Organization of Ukraine, has been a guest here just recently before the Russian attack. And from my end, just a few house rules. For those that don't know World Tourism Network, you find information on WTN.travel. All of you who are not a member are welcome to join us. We're open to anyone who wants to be part of future events we do, and there's a lot more planned. And we're happy today to work actually with SKAL International on this important event. From my end, this is a very, very hot issue, and we have people from very many parts of the world, I see, including Ukraine and Russia, actually on this event. Obviously, nothing here is personal. We're all friends. We're all a part of the travel and tourism industry. We will not tolerate any personal attacks. Not that I say we should expect this, but if this happens, we will just quietly remove anyone who is engaging in this from this forum, so we can keep this not only professional, because SKAL is all about doing business among friends, and that's who we all are. The other situation, of course, is we all realize we're not only, we just thought we're going through the, we're just about to get through the COVID crisis, and here's another situation what may be actually worse. And I think it's good from my end, and everyone has different opinions, to speak out. Ukraine had a share of problems. I think the world has been too quiet for the last 8 years, what is almost double the time of World War II, with the situation they had going on in the Donbas region with so many people, and I'm not talking on the political part, but so many people got killed over the last 8 years, and it was forgotten. Now this problem is wide in the open, and some people who are really true Ukrainians don't even feel they're Ukrainian, so it's a real mess. And the good thing is I had so many conversations yesterday actually with the Israeli consul in Los Angeles, who's in charge of tourism, and she told me she was born in Moscow, she grew up in Ukraine, her parents are in Ukraine, and many of her people are in Israel. Ukraine and Russia is connected. They're friends. For when it comes to the people and people part, and this situation is not only unfortunate, called out, it is a shame. But in any case, this is all my personal opinion, and I wanted to go and just get an input real quick before we go to our friends at SKAL and from Ivan, if this is okay. And Ivan, as I said, has been on an event with us just recently before the Russian attack on his country. And we really kind of determined it's actually quite safe to go back to Ukraine, not really knowing and understanding what they're in for. And you had a wonderful team you put together at our last event. So how's everyone doing? How are you doing, Ivan? And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Juergen. Thank you, Burcin, for invitation. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all participants of today's event. Yes, I'm currently in Odessa. Odessa is the city on the Black Sea on the south of Ukraine. Here, more or less calm situation if to compare with the northern cities, with Kiev, with Kharkiv, Chernihiv, Sumy, which are bombed for last several days and nights all the time. In Odessa, time after time, we have just shells coming and air alarm sound us to go to basements, but compare with other cities, here is more calm. Generally, the situation in Ukraine is terrible. Probably all of you know it from all news. We already have more than 2 million people left. 2 million people left Ukraine. 1.2 million to Poland. 191,000 to Hungary. 140,000 to Slovakia. 83 and 82,000 to Moldova and to Romania, and about 99,000 to Russia as well. People are leaving, women and children, all men have to be here. In all these days, we can see how united became the whole community all over Ukraine. It's unbelievable, but in these 2 weeks, this war did something which we couldn't reach for the last 30 years of our independence. All the country became like one big family. And it's actually the birth of a nation, I would say, because before this, even when we had all these revolutions and Maidans, we had a split of people into two points of view. But now when this happened, nobody believed until the last moment that it can be. Even when we heard from news and when United States and UK told us that Russia is going to invade us, we didn't believe. We couldn't even imagine that it can happen. But now 2 weeks, we live in this reality here in the middle of Europe, and every day and every night we wait for another rockets and explosions, and thousands of people died already, thousands of militaries and civilians, children, women. And what happens on the north, it's unbelievable. In the cities of Kharkiv, how it looks now, in Chernihiv, the ancient city of Kiev Rus, with churches, with cultural sightseeing, it's all around destroyed. It's unbelievable. So yeah, we had already several meetings. Of course, tourism industry is not something what can help in this situation because it's a military conflict and it's a real war. But on all levels, every from Ukraine tries to attract attention of partners and companies to not to be silent, not to stay aside from this situation, and to do something to influence Russian people, because Russian people are blind. They don't hear, they listen only to their TV, which is, you know, that now in Russia, hundreds of companies left the market. I will not call you the brands, but it seems to me 100% of all international brands already left the country, or closed or blocked or suspended their operations there. And YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all social media is already limited or closed their services in Russia. So they get information only from their propaganda channels, who continue 2 weeks to say that they have this demilitarization and denazification operation. And for 2 weeks, they cannot reach any big city. Because they expected to do it just in few hours. And they were talking about this for a few months. We were all laughing about this, but it was really true, their vision that they will reach Kiev just in 8 hours of the first day of the operation. More than 12,000 soldiers from Russian army killed here. They don't report it in their Russian channels, of course. They say that it's about 400 people only. and many, of course, injured, and from our side as well, and civilians are dying. So the only way on our, I mean, in tourism industry, we can do is to scream and to say our position in this. And I don't know what kind of sanctions may help in this situation more than they have now. Now we need mostly to close the sky above us, because what we cannot be protected is just rockets who are falling like a rain all over the country. And they beat not only military bases like they promised, they beat on supermarkets, on cinemas, on civilian houses, in private sector, in just big cities, and so on. So I just want to thank you, SKAL and WTN, for invitation, for attraction another attention to us, to what we have here. We're open. We have now many volunteers. We have now many foundations who are helping, because we have already a humanitarian problems with food, with medicines, with many other things in the cities, especially those who were partially occupied. So I will just send the links for these channels of help and assistance to our army and to our people all over the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivan, and please stay with us as long as you can, but of course your own safety and security is the most important. Ivan is one of the volunteers, and I wanted to thank you for this, for his wife and him. You are cooking food, right, for the soldiers. You sent me some pictures. It actually looks delicious, so I guess your soldiers are doing well. We
have 6,000. We have in Odessa here like a business club from not only tourism companies but from other businesses, and we are feeding the Territorial Defense Union, about 6,000 people every day now for 2 weeks, because they are based in different like camps, waiting for invasion to our region.
Well, good luck with this, Ivan, and please stay on. We're going to hear from Florian, but I wanted to give the floor to SKAL now, and maybe after this we can hear from Peter before we answer or open up for question. But SKAL is really the host of this event, so I don't want to take all of this, and I'm going to give it to the SKAL World President, and I'm very honored to have Burcin on our Zoom here today. Welcome, Burcin. The floor is yours, and you can introduce your team and so forth.
Thank you very much, Juergen, for hosting us today. ATN eTurbo News is SKAL International's 2022 media partner. So we have started to collaborate closely with Juergen Steinmetz. So, and today for this event, we would like to talk about SKAL Romania and their efforts of supporting the Ukrainian refugees crossing the borders. But before I give the floor to Florian, I'd like to say a few words. SKAL International is the oldest international travel association. We've been existing over 8 decades now. And we have been advocating strongly tourism, global tourism through friendship and uniting all travel and tourism industry sectors. And this organization has been through several wars, including the Second World War. I'd like to emphasize that SKAL International is against any armed conflict. So with that, currently SKAL International is striving to show strong solidarity and support for our clubs adjacent to Ukraine who are providing humanitarian support to thousands of Ukrainian refugees crossing the borders in Europe. And today is International Women's Day. And with this occasion that we're having today, I also would like to congratulate all the women out there, their International Women's Day. But on this day, it does break my heart as being a leader in the travel industry and a mom. seeing all the children suffering, you know, the evacuations the families are going through, the moms, the dads, even single women taking up arms in Ukraine. This is all breaking my heart. I know it breaks your heart too. And as much as this is an issue to restore peace, which SKAL International is on the record to resolve diplomatically, what is happening in Ukraine is also a women's issue to address today on the Women's Day. So as I stated earlier in the press release, I would like to call on all women, especially those in SKAL International, to join with all SKALigs to help affected families get through this crisis. Now, I would like to give the floor to Florin. Florin Tancu is the SKAL International Bucharest president, and they have been in the front line assisting Ukrainian refugees. Already, as I think Ivan gave a number, it's over 90,000 who passed the border. And SKAL International Bucharest has been doing an amazing job there, providing humanitarian aid. And Florin, would you like to give us an update?
Yes, thank you, Burcin, for your kind introduction. First of all, I would like to wish a happy International Women's Day, because today is it's a very important day for all of you. And I'm a little bit sad. Actually, I'm very sad because we are in this forum discussing about what do I call the disgrace of our civilization right now. Actually, it's not only an attack to an independent country, it's an attack to the international civilization. And what we are discussing now in 2022, when normally we have to discuss about artificial intelligence, robots, Internet of Things, we are discussing now how to ease the pain of our neighbors from the north. What is happening now in Ukraine, it's something unbelievable. And I have to assure you that we are totally touched about what we see over there and what we listen to all the refugees. And what we are doing, we are a humble soldier of normality. And I think it's the first time in my life when I'm feeling totally near friends, and the principle of doing business among friends. Now I can feel it, and I can really understand it. To help somebody who is who is suffering, it's a normal thing, and we've done it before we start our discussion. We've done it in the first step. At least from our hospitality industry, we all put together our efforts, financially, human efforts, in order to ease the pain of these people, because they are, let's say, normal people with a lot of needs. And it's terrifying when you listen to their stories, when they have to leave their homes only with a pajama or only with two clothes, in order to get rid of this totally madness, what is happening over there. We have tried to focus and to concentrate our efforts in no more than 3 projects, because we are also limited on in terms of resources, financially and humanitarian. What we are, as I mentioned to you, we are trying to ease and to send a normality to these people. And I would like to thank you to all our friends from Europe network. They have contributed, and not only from Europe, also from the States. They have contributed also financially. And all these resources are going in order to help and to make the transition period of the Ukrainian people in Romania as more comfortable as we can do it in this moment.
Thank you, Florin. So you are working as a team at SKAL Bucharest. how are the other SKALigs feeling? Are you guys, do you have a certain schedule that you guys are all taking on? Because I know this is like a 24-hour situation that you've been telling me that you guys are all trying to help everyone. So how are you guys setting up the teamwork with the rest of the SKALigs at SKAL Bucharest?
We have divided our team in a couple of groups. Each guy is responsible of one project. We have a project also with our colleagues from Austria, Salzburg, and this will help the people from here in order to make the transit to Austria. On the other side, yesterday we have started the discussions with the airlines here in Romania, which are operating in Romania, in order to have a special offer for all the people who will use the international network of air travel, in order to offer them very, very affordable price tickets, and we will try to assist them in order to get in possession of this ticket to the destination where they have the families and the relatives. What is happening now in Romania? It's a level of it's still controllable. We had a discussion yesterday with local authorities, and we are together with them in order to assure this transition. But our expectations for the next 7 to 10 days is that a huge number of refugees will come to Romania, especially when they will start the war in the south parts of Ukraine, like Odessa or the other cities, which for us it's something terrifying.
So you're expecting a higher number of refugees in the next 7 to 10 days. So but Romania is for them a stop point, like you said, right? They are from Romania. They are traveling to other parts in Europe, or are they staying in Romania?
Only 2% of them are remaining inside our country. Actually, at this moment, we have approximately 2,000 refugees who ask for protection and for citizenship. But as I can see, we are a transit zone to the other countries inside Europe.
Okay. So is there anything else that you would like to tell to SKALigs and everyone else watching today? Any special message? I know you do have a set up account, and you guys have a reporting system of every expenses that goes through for the refugees that will be reported. And maybe I do see our PR director, Annette Cardenas, here. Maybe she can post a communication link here to everyone once again, for those who might have missed, that includes the information on the accounts for SKAL Bucharest. But is there any additional message that you would like to give to SKALigs or to the world today here?
Yes, I think I will take some words out of Ivan's presentation. This is really happening. It's a totally disaster what is happening, and actually we are in the, let's say, in the first line of interaction. But you all, which you are a little bit far from this zone, but please believe me, it's terrifying what is happening here.
Yes.
You just need to think about how it will be if your kid will be 5 seconds a part of you, and you will never know where is your father and where is your husband, or where is your grandfather. I don't have words in order to express this disgrace of humanity, what is happening right now.
Yes, thank you, Florin. And back to you, Juergen. Do you have any other guests that you would like to introduce today? I know you had mentioned that probably we would have.
Yes, from our end, what I suggest is maybe give Ivan a chance to respond to Frank, and also to see if there's any room for SKAL Romania help, because Ivan is the
You mean Florin? Yes.
To the travel and tourism industry in Ukraine. So maybe that's something, and I don't know, I'm just putting this now out of the blue. There is some kind of cooperation. Both of them could have a further conversation on how we can actually help the travel and tourism industry, and specifically the Romania Club, for already being involved. Dr. Taleb Rifai was supposed to join us. I don't see him, so I'm not sure if he has technical issues. He's in Amman, Jordan. But I wanted to give Peter Tarlow, of course, the floor to say a few words. He is our guy for safety security. He's also a co-chair for, or president better, for the World Tourism Network. And he's based in Texas. So, but let's first go to Ivan, if that's okay, if you wanted to say anything, or if you think it's worthwhile touching base with Frank, or I can supply, get you the address after the event as well.
Yeah, I just want to thank Florin for what you do. It's really impressive how all our neighbor countries support us, and now all tourism companies became refugee companies, and they do, because you can imagine that Ukraine is not a small country, and it's expected that even more people will go abroad. If now it's 2 million, it's expected to be 4, maybe 5 million in next few weeks, and if it's not stopped. But nothing shows us that Russia is going to stop. And just today was report from United States that it will be terrible next few weeks again. So more people, because some people who until last moment didn't believe that it's a real war, that life never will be the same, they wanted to stay and to wait. But now when they see how ugly it became day after day, they are leaving. So I don't know. I don't have this information. It's good to know from Florin that just 2% apply for stay in Romania and they go further. But I know that majority go to Poland, maybe 12 times more than to Romania. Some of them stay in Moldova and Romania. And people are wait. If it will not stop, we don't know where they're going to stay and for how long. I know that Greece, Bulgaria, other European states also helping and wait. So Florin, thanks, and I will contact you after this meeting about rest of questions.
No problem. If we can help, we are here.
Thank you very much. And Peter, maybe we kind of left you on the sideline here, but okay. Ivan and Florian, I really applaud you. This would be a good thing. And if we can help from eTurbo News and from World Tourism Network as well, we can all work together to introduce different players in the industry. And SKAL, I think, is a fantastic network and well positioned for so long time to follow the path you're taking, Frank. Perhaps Burcin would know this better in other regions that, like in Poland, where there are possible SKAL clubs to all work together, and maybe it's an idea for SKAL to do something immediately and get involved. Also, Ivan, I wanted to share to our readers at eTurbo News the address, how they can help financially, because I was hesitating to put any we get so many requests for donations and we don't know who these people are. So we want the money to go where it's supposed to go. So if you can help me with this, we'd be happy to promote this. I just didn't want to promote donations to any unknown organizations. And of course, if SKAL has something like this, we would give you first priority of this as well. But Peter.
Yeah, I think as we are now in SKAL meeting and they are doing in Romania, probably let's do it in their channel.
Perfect.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, Juergen, just to answer your question, we don't have a SKAL club in Poland, but we do have SKALies who are connected with Poland from the United States. I've been receiving some messages. They are asking how they can organize there, but we do have our Budapest club, who is also looking into on getting organized to assist in Hungary. But yes, I'd like to have our PR director, Annette, to post a communication that went out to the members with the information to support SKAL Bucharest Club with their efforts. But back to you, Juergen, for Peter.
No, thank you very much. And this would be really a good outcome, initial outcome out of this call, because I think we need to now do a lot more than talking about it. We need to act, and Frank is the example, and of course Ivan is the example of two movers and shakers in the business. And with the help of Burcin and Peter, like Peter, and our many other members and people who are connected to SKAL, World Tourism Network, and eTurbo News, I think we can start something what has an impact coming from your friends from the travel and tourism industry. Peter, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, Ivan, know that you're in our prayers. When I realized that you were in Odessa, that especially touched my heart. Odessa in the 19th century was the capital of Hebrew literature and one of the truly the pearls of the whole Baltic region. And so many of the great writers, especially in the Hebrew language, were in Odessa in the 19th century. So not only are my prayers with you,
Peter, sorry to interrupt you. I'll tell you more. My mother is director of the Literature Museum in Odessa.
Okay. Well, one of my goals in life had been to get to Odessa to visit it. And when this war is over, I hope to come and visit you. I'm also sorry that I wasn't here when you spoke on our World Tourism Network. I was working in Latin America at the time. But my prayers were with you all the time. And I want to thank the people, first of all, from SKAL, and secondly, from in Bucharest, because what you're doing is truly a wonderful thing. I don't think we should be surprised, on the other hand, that something like this happens. Remember, it's only been 77 decades since Europe was torn apart by Hitler. And one of the things that I think tourism is so important is trying to look at the human heart and trying to understand why in so many parts in the world we take out our anger by destroying other human beings. And Europe has unfortunately had many, many wars. There are wars today going on in many parts of the world. And I'm hoping that the Ukraine maybe is going to touch the hearts of humanity, and through its wonderful president, who has truly become a world symbol for resistance and for honor and for integrity, that maybe this will make the world begin to think a little bit about the fact that we do need to have safety and security. And that without safety and security, there is no tourism. So this is something that's especially important. Obviously, I work in the field of safety and security throughout the world. One of the things, when I get the notice from SKAL of where you would like money to go, I work with well over 5,000 tourism security people around the world. And I know they're all going to be interested in trying to help one way or the other, because when any of us is in danger, all of us are in danger. When any of us suffer, all of us suffer. And so I want to make it clear as president of the World Tourism Network, but also as just a human being, that we look for the day that peace will return not only to Europe, but to the entire world. And the people will finally be able to go from anger to a sense of caring and understanding and talk out their problems rather than beat each other up. So those are really important issues. But Ivan, again, you're in my prayers. And one day when it's possible, I want to come visit you and want to go to Odessa. So that will be, you're my top priority. And that's one of the things I think the tourism world can do, is when peace finally does come, we all need to be thinking of ways of getting people to a place like Ukraine so that they will be able to restart their economy. And tourism is a key element in the development of economic creativity and economic strength. So I think there are lots of ways that we can begin to think out of the box as ways to help you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Peter. And one of the things, of course, when this comes back to normal, we need to prepare and get organized. If God forbids this happens someplace else again, we should know before, really should have this plan together. And I'm of confidence with Burcin as a leader and as a woman, and I apologize for not mentioning Women's Day in the beginning. There's so much going on, and yes, women are just a given in this industry. You know, I think this tourism industry is really run by women. We should have a men's tourism day. But congratulations.
Well, just in that context, Juergen, according to UNWTO, the stats show that while you look into the global scene in other industries, the women working in the industries remains around 39%. In travel and tourism industry, it's 54%. That's based on UNWTO records. So it is an industry that hosts the most women and workers, you know. So from that perspective, you know, it's very important for us. And I do agree with Peter and his statement. And as we also stated a couple of days ago, peace is the required status for global tourism to thrive in any destination. I mean, people will not travel to any place where they don't feel safe. So for that reason, yes, we are all against any potential life-threatening action. So we do hope that this will find a diplomatic solution as soon as possible. And we are also on the record that we will be supporting whatever decision UNWTO will come up at the end of their meetings with this situation. So would you like to take some questions now from those who are in attendance today?
Burcin, just before people ask questions, I felt necessary to point out tourism was the first industry to break the glass ceiling.
Right.
And I think that's really important. On Women's Day, my wife teaches the history of the American woman. So I live in a world, if you're not pro-woman in my family, you die. So, so obviously, I'm very sensitive to that. The other thing is, though, I think it's so important that the tourism industry come together to make a stand about Ukraine, because the potential to spreading to other European countries is very strong. And I don't think most people realize we are really on the verge of the potential for a world war. And I don't want anyone in the Ukraine to die, but I certainly also want to, I don't want the entire European continent to blow up or to have a world war. And so the potential for a nuclear war, the potential for a world war is very high, probably higher since the highest since 1960 and the Cuban Missile Crisis. And we need to think really clearly with our heads. We need to work to bring this conflict to an end as quickly as possible, because if we do not bring it to an end quickly, the potential to spread throughout the world is very high. And that would be truly incredibly destructive. And then what Ivan is suffering, and we don't want him to suffer, could literally touch not tens of thousands of people, but tens of millions of people throughout the world. So let's help Ivan and Ukraine limit this conflict, bring it to an end, and not have the rest of the world blow up, because then there won't be 5 million refugees, there'll be 500 million refugees.
And I think, and that's what I said in the beginning, and I know SKAL may be in a different type of position. We need to speak out. It's time to speak out. It's time to call it by the name and to be fully behind Ukraine and the situation, because we're going to be behind a better world if we are. But that's, again, not SKAL's official version. This is my official version. But I wanted to open this up to, as Burcin said, it's okay to open up now to questions. All you need to do is click on reaction. There is reaction, and you can just raise your hand. And then I see this here, and we can give you the floor. Actually, what I will do is I will make Burcin the co-host also. I should have done this in the beginning, so you can also see who's raising hands here. And I also want to do this, and maybe while we wait for people to do this, I wanted to introduce real quick Annette. Annette is in Panama, and she's in charge of communication. I work with her because I'm privileged to have joined the communication group for SKAL, and I'm working with Annette just yesterday, as recent as yesterday, and she helped a lot to spread the word. So I wanted to give you maybe a second, if that's okay, to say hello. And she's a woman. Come on, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Juergen. I just wanted to share with you that I have put this in the members only in SKAL in our Facebook page. So they've been watching this while we've been running the show right now, or running this conversation. And thank everyone for being here today. President Burcin has been working very hard these days, trying to, come up with ideas and things that we can use to be able to help the situation. So I have to say that she's kept me up pretty late for the last few days working on this, but I'm very happy to do it because it's very sad what's going on. And I reach out to all of you that are suffering through this, and feel, we are here for you, and whatever we can do, I know that we will do our best to comply and help you. And thank you, Juergen, for providing this space for President Burcin to be able to talk to you about this.
And we, of course, we would like to do this more often. And these are definitely initiatives I hear from Romania that are worthwhile promoting and talking about. And so I don't see any hands. I see a question, though, from Tharwat Aburaya. I don't know exactly where you are, but you said today is World Water Day as well. It is very difficult to know. There are many Ukraine cities without water. And then he said, correction, I see it here now. Water Day was on the 22nd of March. But that gives me the question to Ivan, how is the water situation? Is drinking water widely available in throughout Ukraine?
Yes, water is okay.
Okay, so that's one less thing to worry about immediately. We're not going to give anyone any ideas, so let's keep it this way. And let me go through the chat here. But again, I would encourage everyone who wants to jump in. I see a few people that unmuted themselves, like Frank Clare did. Did you have a question, Frank?
Not at the moment, thank you.
Okay, but I think who I'd like to hear from, I'm going to put her on the spot because she always likes to contribute and say something. Maybe she's speechless. Is my friend Pamela Taylor here from Sun Island here in Honolulu. So I'm just going to be blunt enough and put you on the spotlight. So, well, what do you think about the situation? We're quite far away from Ukraine, obviously, here in Hawaii. It's a peaceful island, and I know you must be happy because all the restrictions for COVID have been lifted here pretty much as of yesterday. I think the only restriction left is we have to still wear masks when we go indoors, shopping centers, but no more showing of vaccination cards and so forth. That must be good for your business. But how do you think people see the situation here in Ukraine? Are we worried about it, or is it just too far away?
Greetings and aloha, everyone. Peace and blessings be to all of you guys, because we are all family. Yes, we are happy about the restrictions being lifted, in particular with Sun Islands, Hawaii, because we do cater to the European community, and we are the #1 vendor here in Hawaii, a supplier that brings tourism from Europe to Hawaii. It's kind of discerning and distressful for us what is happening in Europe and how it affects the European community as a whole. In particular for me personally, because I do have family, in particular in the Ukraine, and I have found out and we've able to confirm that we have lost relatives in the Ukraine. It's very personally distressing for me. I had to take personal leave last week just to address family situations because of there was a blackout for like 48 hours where there was no communication coming out of the Ukraine last week via Instagram, via Facebook, or what have you, which is how most of my family communicate with the Europeans. So for me, I think that as a community, personally, I feel that we all should support whatever it takes to make a peaceful resolution. And we should stand not necessarily neutral, but on what is right, what is fair to all. We have the opportunity right now to do one of two things. We can make a positive statement and say that this is not about who's right or who's wrong, but that we as a human race need to respect and appreciate each other and respect and appreciate our right to exist and exist among each other. This is a humanity issue, more so as it is a military conflict. Who has the right to determine how people exist or coexist? That is the statement that needs to be made. Well, at least that's my little 2 cents in it.
Thank
Aloha,
you, Pamela, and aloha, Pamela. And I wanted to say I was impressed that our city is actually, if you go and see Aloha Tower, our #1 landmark here, it's now at night, you see the Ukrainian colors, and I sent a copy to Ivan as well. So I think we are behind the situation. I've seen protest people out on the street protesting for Ukraine. This is a global move, and I know Germany, and that's why I'm going to put Burcin on the spot, because he always has something to say. Burcin is a good friend, and he's probably the #1 to-go person. If anyone needs any addresses or any connections in the travel and tourism industry, he's the guy. He was or is the publisher of the World Tourism Guide, I believe it's called. It's a whole life I know him. He's been maneuvering connections, and he has introduced people to other people. He really has a good perspective of what is going on in the world. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Burcin, but tell us, how do you see it? How does Germany see the situation right now? I know you had massive protests. I know in my home city, Düsseldorf, where I'm actually a member of SKAL Düsseldorf, we had some of the largest protests ever. So people are very much aware of the situation in Germany, plus oil supply is a big issue. How's everything there?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. First of all, it's not the World Tourism Guide, it's World Tourism Directory. But this is not important now. You are right. I'm trying, or the deeper intention of being part of the tourism industry is to give my 2 cents and to create bridges, intercultural, interreligious bridges. We need bridges and we don't need walls. And what now is happening is new walls are created, and but I have the feeling that, well, let's say the tourism industry cannot change the world, but the tourism industry can change the people, and the people can change the world. And what I realize here in Germany, seeing some interviews with Russians living in Russia, in Western Europe, in Germany, there are just very few, it seems to me, of course, I don't have a clear statistic, but it seems to me that even the most Russians are not standing behind of Putin. So they say this is a war of Putin. This is not a war of Russia. This is not a war of the Russian people. The Ukrainian people are our brothers, and we don't need this. Nobody needs this situation. Of course, there are historical overlappings between Russia and Ukraine, but any country has some area somewhere else. When you look in the history. Like we have Ostpreußen, what is this word in English? Easter Prussia, or Thomas? Or yes, in yes. Poland, in Poland, half 50% of today Poland was Germany before. And this is totally nonsense. And we are living in a modern world where nobody needs this. And when a lot of Russians are saying this, then it means that I hope that Putin and co, and we don't know how much is and co, do not have this endorsement and this support with the Russian people as we think. Nobody knows. Nobody can check it. There is no survey about this. Maybe Peter has some information about this. I don't know. So coming to Germany, we are in Germany about 18,000 communities, big ones and small ones. And I heard about that we already have more than 60,000 initiatives, a lot by churches, a lot private initiatives, helping collecting stuff, clothes, medicine, food, whatever, and bring it to the Polish-Ukrainian border. In my city, Thomas was here 3, 4, 5 times. We have 40,000 people. I think we already sent 10 trucks with clothes and beds and towels and whatever, tents to the Polish border, Polish-Ukrainian border. And my city here, we are very close to the, let's say, to the Dutch border. So far away from the Polish border. We just got here the first refugees from Ukraine, which are about 30 people. So not that much yet, but we are far away from the border. But all the news are full, 24 hours on any channel, everything is full. And there's a lot of sympathy for the Ukrainian people, but more and more Germans also say we also need to have sympathy for the Russian troops, for the Russian soldiers who have absolutely no idea what they should do in Ukraine, because it was said it was a test, it was a maneuver. What is maneuver in English, Thomas?
Yeah, maneuver, yes.
Maneuver, okay.
Yeah.
And so I've seen a statement of three Russian soldiers, and they said, we are in a totally wrong movie here. We don't want to do this, what we have to do here. And the question is, how much of the Russian troops are like these 3 guys? Are this just a few, or are this 10%, 20%? Is there a hope? The most people here hope that the Russians will find a Russian solution and kick Putin out. Of course, this is just one sentence. It's easy to say, but I don't think it's so easy to do. So now I close my mouth. Okay. And the next.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you, Burcin. I think, you know, what you've said, you're seeing in Germany, I think just like Florin at the beginning mentioned, like Bucharest being a, you know, first point, Ukrainian refugees coming into Europe. And now I think rest of Europe will start to see the Ukrainian refugees as they move into other countries within Europe. So you will see, you know, them more and the impacts. And that's another topic of, you know, how it will affect, you know, the balances in Europe in general, the economy and everything. But that's a discussion for another time. But Juergen, I see you brought our International Council President, Julie.
Yes.
Julie, would you like to make any comments today?
You have to unmute yourself, Julie, please.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much. First of all, happy Women's Day to all the women in the world and the men who support us. I'm here in Nairobi, Kenya, and what's happening in Ukraine breaks our hearts. When COVID, the pandemic actually stopped, the first great groups we had were from Ukraine. And this is to the Kenya coast. They came here in great numbers, and we started building a great relationship with tour operators in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So we are delighted with what's happening in Ukraine. I was very fortunate to have visited Ukraine, have a few friends there. Unfortunately, have not been able to get in touch with anybody else. The other thing that I would like everyone to know, and this was when I first went to the Ukraine embassy, I was surprised at the number of scholarship Ukraine provides to African students. And I know you've all seen the good and the bad stories about the students in Ukraine. And I remember reaching out and asking, why do you give scholarships? And to them, they said, we have good education, we have the facilities, so we give scholarships. So Ukraine, despite being where it is, has touched a lot of us here in Kenya. Today, we've received a number of Kenyan students that left Ukraine. I've been quite involved in that. About 76 students have left. and a few more living in other African countries. But it shows you, despite maybe people not feeling that Ukraine may be very far away from Africa, it still has an impact with Africa. So Ivan, I don't think we've met, but I know Georgina from your club in Bucharest. I wish you all the best. We are going to support you, and we wish you all the best. Difficult times, and what we see on the news is devastating. We as Africans experience this all the time, many times. Didn't expect it to be happening in 2020 in Europe, but it's happening. And we will do whatever we can as SKAL, and Burcin, our president, has been very, very active in this, and SKA members, I think, everywhere. So good luck. We stand with you. And I can tell you the city of Nairobi has the flag of Ukraine everywhere. So we support you. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Julie. You say Asante Sana, right? Is that what you're saying in Kenya?
Yes, we say Asante Sana.
Okay, Asante Sana. For anyone else who wanted to ask questions, we are at the official end of our time, but it's okay to go a little bit over because this is such an important discussion we're having. And of course, Burcin may have something at the end also come back. We have John Sunday raising hand, but before we do to John, I had put Dr. Hashmi, and she is joining us from Turkey, actually. And we know Dr. Hashmi because she was on one of our events representing a university in Pakistan. And she can tell us a little bit about her, but since she's so involved in Pakistan and in Turkey, she's Turkish, to see how do people think in your part of the world. And thank you so much for always joining our events, Dr. Hashmi. Go ahead.
Thank you, Juergen. I'm actually attending this session from Islamabad. I'm still in Pakistan. It will be 3 years. Time flies. But thank you for this opportunity to speak up. I also feel sorry about all of this. I worked in Bucharest as a hotel manager for about 13 years. I don't think we have met Florin, but I was the manager of Temple Hotel Bucharest, so up until 2018. And then I happened to end up in Islamabad, having been to Atlanta on a conference. I met somebody and I ended up here we are developing a tourism and hospitality management program here at the National University of Sciences and Technology. And we will be having our first batch of students hopefully in September. So my focus has been always on sustainability and sustainability in hospitality. And we are discussing the situation with my students almost, in every session since this started. It is about the security and safety is very important. And we are trying to also link it to change management, how we can apply this to our daily lives, how we can, how we should analyze all of this from the perspectives of various stakeholders. In this part of the world, actually, it is perceived as a, I will not say like a normal phenomenon, but the reactions are not so let's say sharp as you might think, because the case in Afghanistan and in this part of the world, people are quite resilient. They have gone through these stressful periods at some point in their lives. So, and considering the Asian culture, there is some calmness and positivity. So actually what I hear is, positivity more than pessimism. They say that Ukraine will overcome this situation and like everybody else is doing. But I'm doing my best to make my students be aware of the situation, and we try to link it to each topic that we discuss over the past 2 weeks. So if there is anything I can do at this stage, I'm just curious, Florin, are there any, opening their rooms to the refugees? Let's say at least, 5 rooms, 10 rooms, a certain percentage of their rooms to the refugees. Are there any initiatives like this, or maybe some other?
Yes, of course. We have our hotels we have our friends from the hotel industry, which are involved in this project also, and they are offering free of charge rooms for refugees on a normal basis. So also there are programs in this way.
Okay, that's nice to know. I will be coming to Bucharest on the 21st. I will be in Bucharest, inshallah, for about a week.
With pleasure.
Dr. Gurlan, and just a quick note for you is we do have a Karachi club in Pakistan. So and within the organization, we have started an advocacy and global partnership committee, which the subcommittee has a sustainability project that they're working on. So maybe we would consider becoming a SKAL member and maybe joining to one of these groups to, work on their projects together, just a side information for you. Thank you very much. I see we do have 2 more hands, and yes, we're already over our time, but we'll take rest of the questions. And then we'll finish it with Florin with his final statement. I think Jan Sunde was next, our past world president. Good evening, past President Jan. Great to see you here today.
Good evening. I'm actually in Portugal with the Norwegian group here, but I'm following very well what's going on at home, and I want to tell you a story. Some people in Juergen took the initiative. They contacted the bus company who I worked for earlier, the hotel chain, and the ferry company, and they got the lorry filled up with all kinds of equipment, medicine, clothes, whatever. And what they didn't get in the lorry, they put in 2 buses and went down to Poland, to the Ukrainian border. And today they are on the way back home. Of course, the lorry is empty, but there are 100 Ukrainians in the buses, and they are ready to be received in Burcin. The hotel is ready, the rooms are ready for them, and outside our Rathaus, our council building, the Ukrainian flag is up. So for Norway, it's very important. And if you go back to the history, in the 1800s, this was the way we went from Scandinavia to Istanbul, Constantinople. And they started the Kiev Empire and stayed there and made that the capital. This was the center of Europe until the Mongolian came in 1240 and destroyed it all. So what people are doing now is amazing. And Florin, you're fantastic what you're doing in the club. And Ivan, I wish I can go to Ukraine. 2 years in 20, I should have been done for 5 groups to Moldova and Ukraine and Odessa. I hope it can be next year, really. All the best to you. I'm impressed, Florin, what you're doing. All the best to you, Ivan. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you very much. Actually, it's also, we need to, while commending SKAL International Bucharest Club, we need to commend SKAL Europe, because SKAL Europe in general has been very supportive to SKAL Bucharest Club, SKAL Italy, SKAL Austria, and rest of all of those SKAL Europe countries have been supporting the initiatives, and that's been started by SKAL Bucharest. So thank you to all SKAL Europe clubs as well. And I do see some of them are today with us here. And I think next is Adil. You have your hand up.
Let us know where you're from, Adil, for those that don't know you, please. Can you please unmute yourself? You need to unmute yourself. On your computer, there should be a mute button. There we go. Okay.
I got it. Yes. My name is Adil Mufti. I am from Sudan. I know that we are far away, but still, it is a humanity. Yeah, and I know this world is going to affect all the world if we did not all work together to stop it. Thank you, WTN, for the invitation. Really appreciate it. And also SKAL for doing this type of meetings, which is we all as a human, we're trying to save the people of Ukraine. And this is, and I'm sure this is, if we did not work, or the people political work hard to stop this war, it can affect the world. And we can see it clearly because this is one of the biggest country in the world get into another country, which is unfair. And we would like all to work together to stop this type of war because it is going to affect all the world and even Europe, and even it can be to the second world too. I'm here sending my sympathy and for the people of Ukraine, and we with you, and we'll see that how we are going to support, even with prayer, and we get our hand, this war to be stopped as soon as possible. And I thank you very much, and I don't want to talk more, but I just want to say that the people of Sudan, they are with you and behind you, and with the tourism and with the WTN and SKAL, maybe they have to speak out to do something, even politically, or to send any message to the world that we are with Ukrainian people and even the Russian people. We don't want the humanity to go to this type, because this is a very bad history. As somebody else before said, that we cannot change the world, but we can change the people to change the world. We pray for you, and we'll sure that people they can do something to stop this type of war.
Thank you, Adil.
If it's okay, Burcin, I wanted to just introduce, and then we give it back to you. I don't see any more hands, but Alexandra is, she is the director of tourism for Montenegro, what is close by the situation. She's also a good friend, and she actually has been a member, not only a member, she's a board member of the World Tourism Network and president of the Serbia region for World Tourism Network. So I want to, thanks for joining. I know you're extremely busy with your government. You have some internal issues you're dealing with, and thank you so much, Alexander, for taking the time. So I don't want to ignore you before we give it back to Burcin. I don't know if you have a SKAL club in Montenegro, do you?
No, we don't have a club in Montenegro, no. But Alexandra can start it, so while she's here.
Yeah, and she's another really amazing woman, but you have to find a microphone. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you, even though you look like you're unmuted, but your microphone doesn't seem to be working. Maybe you have a different microphone.
You might want to take off your earbuds. Sometimes it's disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yeah, we can
now
hear you.
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, maybe not that good because I also have some voices in the back. Sorry. First of all, my apologies for joining you a bit late. I mean late, but I just wanted to show up. I had a real excuse and I apologize, but I really wanted to show up to pass on my support and to say that we are really feeling terrible about what's going on in Ukraine. And our prayers and our thoughts and hearts are with you. And also Montenegro is trying, we are trying as much as we can to support Ukraine. Every day we have like 50 to 100 refugees coming from Ukraine to Montenegro. even though we are not really, I mean, neighboring countries, but people are still coming here in some numbers, and we are supporting all of them that are coming. We are sending some help and so on. So that's all for time being, and I really hope that the situation will solve as soon as possible, and we pray for it.
Okay, Burcin, it's all your floor. Unfortunately, Ivan had to leave.
Yes.
So he's no longer here, but we, of course, this is all going to be on archive for anyone who's watching us. We're going to put this on the archive, and I'm sure also SKAL will find a way to put it on their archive. For those that are not a member of SKAL, you can, I saw a question here, you can go to skal.org, and Burcin can say a little bit more about it, but SKAL, there has to be a club. And I think everyone is encouraged, like in Montenegro, in maybe after the war in Ukraine, in Sudan, and wherever you're from today, to think about starting a club. Maybe Burcin can tell us a little bit more about this. And so I give it back to her, and then for your final words, and I think you wanted to have Flora, and maybe we can hear from Peter again.
Yeah.
And good, Anon.
Great, thank you, Juergen. Yes, well, yes, there were several questions I received on the private, also in the public chat room. They were asking how to become a SKAL member. Well, there is a different, as you said, yes, you can become a member of a club if there is a club in your city or your country. Or if there is none, you can be an active individual member. You can still be a SKAL member. And as the number builds up, if there are 15 members in the same city, you can now start a SKAL club in the city. But yeah, in any case, please, I did put my the SKAL email address, and I did put my email address as well. And you can also get information on the website skal.org. And, you know, about the membership and, you know, the global networking and doing business among friends philosophy that we have. You can find all that information on the website. But again, back to the reason why we are all meeting today was to commend and support and give some updates about what our SKAL Bucharest club is doing. The president of SKAL Bucharest, Tancu, did provide us information, and as SKAL International, we are standing behind our club and supporting them. The information on their accounts for any financial support is posted. The information is under SKAL Europe website available as well. And I'd like to give it back to Florin for some final words before we end the meeting today. Florin.
Thank you, President Burcin. First of all, don't remember that we must act as the soldiers of normality. On the other side, I will suggest to all of the SKAL network to think, after this period will pass, how can we help in the touristic way our partners and friends from Ukraine, because they will need a lot of help in the next period of time in order to rebuild and to recome to their normality. What we are doing now is to ease their pain, but we have to think also about the future and to see how can we build again what they are suffering right now. Thank you all of you for your contribution and for your friendship. As I mentioned to you, I'm feeling first time in a real friendly and friendship environment. That's why it's called for. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Florin. We appreciate all you do in SKAL Bucharest. Back to you, Juergen.
Yes, and Florin, just one last question. I know for Etrobo News, one of our clients is Fraport, what's the Frankfurt airport for many years. And as far as I know, they operate some of the airports in your region, like Sofia, Burgas, and I don't know if they operate in Bucharest. But wouldn't that be maybe a worthwhile partner for you guys to reach out to and see how they can assist as an airport and all the connections they have to international airlines flying into your region, how they can support this situation also for refugees to go from point A to point B to other countries? I'm just an idea.
Fraport is not operating any airport in Romania, but any help or any assistance from their side will be highly appreciated.
So I will try to connect you to the person I know in Frankfurt, and see if this could make a difference. There was a comment here from Tharwat Aburaya. I assume he or she is from Egypt, saying that all hotels in Egypt are taking care of stranded Ukrainian passengers or tourists that came there before the situation and cannot go home. So I think this is a really, really good initiative, maybe for SKAL to share with all clubs, and we can do the same at World Tourism Network to assist those from Ukraine that are stranded and didn't know about the war, because this pretty much all happened overnight, and there got to be a lot of them because Ukrainians are big travelers. We see them everywhere in the world, including here in Hawaii. Tristan, thank you very much for your question, and I'm sure SKAL will probably act on it, and we will do from our end as well. Again, I wanted to thank everyone and SKAL for giving us the opportunity to host this event today. And we will provide all the information and the tape also to SKAL to put it on their various channels. And we're going to have it on World Tourism Network, WTN.travel, if you click on past events. And of course, it will be playing on eTurbo News for the next 24 to 48 hours back to back. So no matter what time of the day you go to eTurbo News, in a few hours, you see our event, and it's also there on our YouTube archive. You can click on from eTurbo News or any of the other partner publications that are taking our streams. And we hope to be able to do this again soon. This is a situation that needs to be tackled from various areas and approaches, and SKAL is very well positioned, as you can see, to really play a major role here. And with this, I wanted to give the final word, as always, to Peter. We're not going to talk about the weather, what we usually do in our breaking news channels. But Peter, you have the last and final word.
Well, thank you. First of all, Burcin, thank you for having us. And again, congratulations on International Women's Day. Florin, maybe some words. First of all, I want to agree with you 100% that there will be a second time after this is over when we need to help the people of Ukraine rebuild their tourism industry. And you're 100% right about that. But let me give you some words of inspiration, because we've had so many words of negativity in this very difficult and dark period. 70 years ago, Europe went through an even worse period. In those days, no one cared. And people were willing to let other people die in concentration camps. They were willing to let people die, and they took away their humanity and put numbers on their arms. One of those people, some of those people were the uncles of the president of Ukraine, whose family was also destroyed in the Holocaust. Today, 70 years later, there's still terrible things that are going on. But the fact that we're all together, the fact that people are now crying out when 70 years ago Europe was silent, is a step forward in the process of humanity. The fact that we have people working from all over the world to try to save human life rather than destroy human life means that yes, there's still evil in the world, but there's also goodness. And if we're able to build on that goodness, then we're able to, maybe this will be the last time. After the Holocaust, we said never again. Unfortunately, that wasn't true. But let's work together through tourism to create a sense of peace and caring, where we respect every human being as someone made in the image of God. If we do that, then we can go beyond racism, sexism, nationalism, and find a way to appreciate each of us as a human being. And that's truly what tourism is all about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, Juergen. Thank you very much, Florin. Thank you very much, colleagues, everyone from around the globe who joined us today. Juergen.
Aloha from here.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Aloha.
Bye-bye.
Bye. This meeting is over. Bye. Aloha all, and thank you.